Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 185 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekly edition, and I'm standing in the middle of my fleet of Delta scroll saws. So, in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about improving the longevity of your Delta tools. So if you want to see what I'm going to talk about, all you need to do is stay tuned. Well, to be honest with you, it was a sad day for me when I could no longer buy Delta equipment. I really liked their Shopmaster line of tools, but during that time I was working as an industrial arts teacher in the public school system, and I really liked the first generation Delta mini lathes. And in fact, in my little fleet of student lathes here, I have 5 of them. They're a wonderful little lathe. They're not the top of the line, but they're just a rugged, dependable lathe. I've taught hundreds of students on those little Delta mini lathes. The scroll saw is very similar. This is not, in my opinion, a high-end saw, nor is it the bottom of the barrel. This is kind of in the middle. It's maybe not quite as smooth as, say, the DeWalt, the DW788. It's a pretty nice saw. We had 2 of them at school. I liked it, but they had their problems too. I would say, though, if you go up from there, and if I could outfit my shop with, say, 5 scroll saws to teach classes, in Canada, I would buy the King version. Now, the King version, to my understanding, is basically a copy of the Excalibur that was sold by General International. I like that design, and I think what I would consider the higher end scroll saws are all that design. Like Pegasus in the US, I believe, is a very similar style saw. There's some others out there too that are basically clones of what Excalibur used to make. Maybe with some more modern improvements now, because General International, that's getting to be, they've been out of business a while now. But the problem with owning one of these lathes is getting parts for them. Now with the lathes, it's not that big a deal because there isn't that much in those lathes that's proprietary, that's necessary to keep them running. You've got bearings, you've got belts, you've got electric motor. All those things use more generic parts. I've got a great belt supplier in the US. Bearings, I just measured them and ordered them on Amazon. They were cheap. My lathes don't run all that much, so cheap bearings are fine. But with the scroll saws, you have more proprietary things. And the biggest proprietary thing that breaks on these saws, or that wears out, not breaks, but actually wears out, is the blade holder. And many of these Delta scroll saws, they made a lot of these, well, I shouldn't say, I'm not even sure how many of these they made. But I found a number of these saws on Kijiji. In fact, my whole fleet here is a Kijiji saw and then 2 Facebook Marketplace saws. And total investment of this, what you see here, we're looking at about $325. That's not bad for 3 saws, and they're not bad saws. I'm going to make stands like this for these 2 yet, and I have the metal here. I have it roughly cut to length already, so that you can look forward to in an upcoming video as well. But let's get back to the blade holders. These are brand new. This saw has hardly been used at all. And this blade holder is excellent. The Delta quick release ones I thought was a really good design. They're a little light and flimsy on the spring in the back here, but we had these on the school's SS250s. Okay, this is an SS350, And this is the same saw, but a later version, I believe. And it's what, a 40-570. So they're two saws, two different part numbers, but they're essentially the same saw. So the blade holders, the stock blade holders are excellent. But I found at the school with the SS250s, 10 years of 25 students per group, flipping blades back and forth, changing blades, doing internal cuts, all the releasing and locking of those blade holders that I would do in one class, eventually they just wore out. So I was faced with how to replace them. By the time they wore out, Delta as a company had long faded. So I needed to find something else. And I have had some luck in my career, especially with all the equipment I've worked with, is adapting other parts to fit my needs. So this was, I think, during COVID when I changed the school saws over. And I looked and looked and looked, and finally I thought Carter made a replacement blade holder, but I couldn't find anything. And I just couldn't find a company that made that replacement blade holder for this type of saw. Now I'm aware, like Pegasus makes a blade holder, but not for this style of saw. That for the DeWalt, the 788, they make one, and the other saws like the King and Excalibur and those saws, but not for these. So I was left with a bit of a dilemma. Like, I could replace all four scroll saws, which I couldn't afford, or find something that worked. So I thought a while, spent my time looking in parts catalogs, and we have a pretty good Makita service center in Saskatoon, and I decided, well, if I'm going to switch to another brand, there's a better chance that Makita will be around for a while. So I ordered one blade holder from Makita, and I had to wait a while because the scroll saw comes off of, what's the part number? That's a Makita SJ401. So it's still, the saw is still sold, so obviously there are parts for it. And I thought I'd give that a try. So I ordered it, and this is my saw. On my saws, I converted this one here. And the only thing I had to do to make that fit is, okay, here's the stock Delta quick change. This hole here, I'm just going to come a little closer here. That hole there, I had to make a little larger on the Makita one. Top and bottom. That's the only modification I made, and they fit. Now, the one thing I didn't like about the Makita is the Makita came stock with this 4mm panhead, or not, it's not panhead, hexagon head screw. And so that meant having a wrench around all the time to make blade changes. So I thought, well, that I can switch out. I can put some kind of a thumb wheel on there that'll make this all work. Well, that wasn't quite as easy as I thought. I ordered, I think this is the third part I've ordered for this, and I'm still not happy with it, but I did get this to work. It's really, really nice having a saw that you can change the blades without any tools. Because having an Allen wrench around and then you misplace it and it's bulky and it's slow, whereas this is really, really quick. The DeWalt, that DW788, has a really nice thumb wheels or fasteners for their blades, so that you can really change blades quickly. So anyway, what I did is I modified the Makita, and then I went looking for replacement thumb wheels. And this is the latest version I had. This is a previous version, too small, couldn't get enough tension on it. This size works pretty good, But the problem with these, and I'm not on my final version yet, but now I know exactly what I have to look for. This needs to all be metal, because this plastic, when you tighten it up, it starts to mess with the joint between the metal and the plastic. So that is a bit of a problem. But if you want to just use an Allen wrench, you got one scroll saw, you're not in a big hurry, you don't need to change blades for 5 kids, by all means, just use the Makita blade holders and find a good long Allen wrench, and away you go. I actually did that at school for a couple of years. It works. It's a little inconvenient, but it works. But I want to start teaching some scroll saw classes here. My younger students, that's going to happen already, but I'm going to design an adult class as well, because I think this is a wonderful tool to be able to use, like the lathe, and I think I should be teaching it. So anyway, that's what's going to be happening. So I think I'm going to take you guys mobile a little bit and let you see exactly what this looks like. Okay, well, we're off the tripod, and I'll try to be steady here and give you a good view. There is the upper blade holder. Now there's a pin with an E-clip that goes through there to hold it onto the body. Okay, and I'll just come around to the front. See, and there's a piece that goes in there. The widths and everything were perfect. I made no adjustments to anything. Right now, I've been playing with this different way of securing the blade, and I don't know if you can see it there, but finally in the end, I double nutted it and I made it work. But like I said, I'm going to look for another one. Now I know exactly what I need and how tight it needs to grip. So that'll happen shortly. One other thing, the blower line was gone. So I just ordered a generic piece from Amazon, and that works out just fine. Okay, going under the table. All right, so yeah, there you can see it a little better. The fit's really good. The only thing, like I said, the hole in the blade mount was a little smaller than the roll pin, so I had to drill that out just a little bit. So that was an easy modification, and they look like they belong there. The geometry is very, very similar to the Delta quick change system. So here you can see the double nut a little better. I ran out of the larger size, the larger diameter 9mm wrench, 4mm thread nuts, and I put 2 of them there, and that's what you need to hold this. Like running the plastic up against the shoulder here on the blade holder isn't enough to hold it properly, and it wants to work its way loose after a while. So what I did to kind of test this out, I put the blades in and tightened them up as much as I could, and then put the saw on maximum RPM and turned it on and see what would happen. Well, without double nutting these, after about 3-4 minutes, all of a sudden the blade was out. But once I double nutted them, the last test I did, I turned it on, I walked around the shop for about 10 minutes, and then I came back and cut a piece of 1/2-inch oak with it, and it all worked just fine. So, like I say, I'm going to look for a replacement for these. If I was a little better with my metal lathe, I'd maybe just make it. But yeah, that is the way I've managed to extend the life of my my Delta scroll saws, and hopefully this will continue. So anyway, let's, now that you've seen it, oh wait, one more thing here. Yeah, here's a better view of what I mean by double nutting. So if I tighten one nut against another, it forms a solid wall. And that's what's necessary to push up against the side of the blade holder to make it lock securely. And, but like I say, if you want to just get your saw running and you don't care about using a wrench, the stock Makita blade holders work just fine. Okay, well, let's wrap this video up. Well, I'm looking forward to getting these on stands and starting to use these. So with my grade 6 group, I think we're going to do a piece of Intarsia. There's one that they've agreed on already. And with my grade 7 group, we're going to do my standard sort of Intarsia, cutting out MDF and painting. And I don't know, for my adult class, I think we're going to talk more about scroll saws, and I'll try to show them everything they would need to do, or they would need to have to know in order to be able to go out and purchase a scroll saw and have a chance of success when operating independently. That is one of the big things that I always try to do, especially with all the classes I've taught over the years. Am I passing on enough knowledge to have the student be able to work safely and independently? So when we're turning, for example, yeah, I check the lathes to make sure the piece is in properly before they start, but it doesn't take long, and I know who knows how to do it properly and who doesn't, and the ones who don't, we just spend more time with, especially now that I'm in an ideal situation here. But I'm sure the same will hold true for the scroll saw. With adults, they'll want to know about blades and changing blades and cutting speeds and what saw to buy and all that stuff. So I'll try to incorporate that into my class. But for now, we're going to get these guys up and running, and we're going to hopefully have some fun. I'm sure there'll be some teething problems with these saws as we get going, but we're going to do the best we can with what we have. So it's another thing that I like to work. Well, it would be wonderful if the budget was such that I could go out and buy all new equipment when I needed it and all that stuff. But it just doesn't work that way. And I think most of us would work in the real world where budget is important. And having the newest stuff and the latest stuff is wonderful, but it isn't necessary to do good work. As a friend of mine always said, it wasn't the tool, it was the worker. So a lot of ways I agree with that. But anyway, that brings this video to a close. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing if you've done that. There seems to be a little bit of a stigmatism around subscribing. People think it's a big deal. All you need to do is click the subscribe button, and no, nobody's going to come knocking at your door, or you're not going to seize your bank account or anything. Like it just, you click it and that helps me, so that would be wonderful. I think there's going to be some kind of a fairly special giveaway at around 1,000 subscribers. I'm working on it, but I'm not going to say anything yet. So anyway, keep that in mind. So anyway, we will see you on the weekend edition. Have a great week out there, everybody, and take care out there.